Welcome to your Get That Nugget for GCSE English Literature. Today we're going to be focusing on how we analyse quotations to ensure that we're meeting all of our assessment objectives, and that will then give you a structure for how you write paragraphs in your literature essays. This can be applied to all of your literature texts, but today we are going to focus on Blood Brothers and specifically on the character of Mickey. So in the last nugget we looked at Edward, and we looked at the way that he is presented as sheltered, but it's important to acknowledge that in the same way we can't look at Edward without that sort of comparison with Mickey. We can't look at Mickey without some sort of comparison to Edward. And all the way through, Russell is sort of setting up the differences between the two boys. So we're going to start with the quotation from the policeman. What does this show us about Mickey? Well, in the first instance, it shows us that he gets into trouble with the law. But when we contrast that to the way the policeman talks about Edward in this case, it also shows that he is judged by society. So here we have serious crime. And by serious crime, we as an audience understand, the severer, harsher end of the spectrum, murder, robbery, assault, whereas actually, in the case of Edward, it was described as a prank. And so the policeman is judging Mickey and treating him more harshly but crime does show us that he is outside of the law and that he is not necessarily following the rules that he should. When we come to AO3, we would look at the fact that as a working class character, he is judged more harshly, given less respect or less chances. And all of this is because essentially he is coming from a working class family. Again, this is Willie Russell making a comment about how society treats the poorest, or most vulnerable sections of society. The next quotation we want to look at is, "Since you left, I've been walking around all day, every day, looking for a job." And essentially that shows you what Mickey's chances are, what Mickey's opportunities are. So AO1, Mickey has no chances, choices. AO2, all day, every day, suggests this never-ending quest for employment, this never-ending quest to try and be able to earn money. Which again suggests that there are no choices and no options. AO3, we link that back again to Thatcher's view on hard work is being disproved here by Mickey's situation. And so no matter how many times he walks around looking for a job, no matter how many times he tries to get a job, there are no jobs available for him. So it's not about hard work, it is about the opportunities afforded to certain classes. And then the last one that I want to look at comes from the end of the play. How is Mickey presented? Well, he's presented as disappointed, angry, and let down. And to be clear, not necessarily let down by his mother. It could have been a straight swap, either baby could have gone, but let down by society, because two people with exactly the same genetic makeup have had two very different routes in life. So AO2, I could have been him. This idea that it was chance, it was the choice of his mother, but ultimately Mickey wasn't ever necessarily destined to have this life. Mickey could have had a different life, could have had a different future, all based on where he grew up, where he went to school, who his parents were. And again, when we come to AO3, it is that idea that it is a lottery, and where you are born, which street, which postcode, which house, will dictate your future. Not about how smart you are, how hard you work, how nice a person you are, but it is about the socioeconomic environment that you are born into. And so millions of people with no choice and no future. And so essentially all the way through, Willie Russell is trying to show us that it isn't really about the person, it is about the situation that they're born into. And that's why throughout you get the direct contrast between him and Edward. So we're going to look at this quotation. So Mickey is presented as someone who gets into trouble or breaks the law, but is then harshly judged by society. When he is brought home by the police, unlike Edward, who is accused of a prank, Mickey is accused of almost committing a serious crime. This suggests that Mickey is treated more harshly, and that this behaviour is expected from him. The policeman expects him to break the law. Because of his family. Russell is showing us that the working class not only had less opportunities, but were treated more harshly or given less leeway. Okay, so we've got AO1 at the top, then AO2, then AO3 at the bottom, all the time coming back to the question, which is about how Russell presents Mickey. What I want you to do is answer that question. You can use the 3 quotations that we've looked at today or 3 of your own. Answering the question, how does Russell present Mickey? At this stage, we're not looking at an essay, we're looking at 3 separate paragraphs that answer that question. How does Russell present Mickey? You can use these 3 paragraphs, quotations, or 3 of your own.